Hello and thank you for joining us. My name's Ben Sheen, I'm a managing editor here at Stratfor, and I'm joined today by Europe Analyst, Adriano Bosoni, and we'll be talking about the ongoing crisis in Greece. Adriano, in recent days, Greek officials have said they want to reach an honourable agreement with the EU and the IMF. Are we likely to see any kind of deal between Greece and its lenders?
Yes, there will be an agreement, and we expect Greece to end its bailout program by late June. But that's not the real issue here. The real issue is what happens after the current bailout program expires and how Greece will deal with its problems starting in July, when it will no longer have a bailout program backing the governments in Athens. Greece will probably not be able to return to financial markets because interest rates will be extremely high for Greece's long-term debts. It may not have backing from the European Central Bank because the ECB may decide to no longer provide liquidity to Greek banks. So the big question is not whether or not Greece and its lenders reach an agreement in the coming weeks. The main issue here is what happens after the current program expires and Greece is left on its own.
Well, that being the question, Adriano, what happens then?
After the end of its second bailout program, the Greek government will face very difficult questions. It will have to choose on whether or not to ask for another aid program or whether or not to make a drastic decision such as leaving the Eurozone and returning to the drachma. But the Greek government may feel it lacks the electoral mandate to make such a drastic decision. This is a government that was elected on an impossible agenda because it promised both to keep Greece in the Eurozone and to stop implementing spending cuts and austerity measures. So the Greek government may feel that it needs to ask voters again before making the next move. So despite of what Greek government officials have been saying in the past few days, I would not rule out a referendum. And if there was a referendum, Greek voters would probably vote to remain in the Eurozone. So long story short, I think there will not be a Grexit this year. Greece will do just enough to remain in the Eurozone, but the problem is far from over because Greece's debt is not sustainable. Greece cannot reach the fiscal surplus that its lenders are demanding, and Greece cannot go on just asking for money every couple of years. So even if we don't expect a Grexit this year, Greece's problems will definitely not end anytime soon.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of people have been talking about a third bailout package for Greece itself. What would a third bailout package actually look like?
From a financial point of view, it would not be particularly problematic. People are talking of something between 30 and 50 billion euros, which is a lot of money, but it's not that much if we consider the amount of money that Greece has been receiving over the past 5 years. The thing is that this will be politically sensitive. From the Eurozone's point of view, it will be politically sensitive because the bailout would have to be ratified by every parliament in the Eurozone. And we have seen countries like Germany or Finland and other Northern European countries being very skeptical about giving fresh money to Greece. But from the Greek perspective, it would also be extremely controversial because this is a government that campaigned on something different. It campaigned on debt relief. It campaigned on the end of austerity measures. So even if an agreement will likely be reached, even if we think that Greece will not leave the Eurozone this year, Greece's problems are far from over. Greece's debt is not sustainable. Greece cannot achieve the budget surpluses that it's been asked to achieve. And even if there is a temporary agreement, this will not be over anytime soon. And we will continue talking about Greece in the months and years to come.
So why do you think, Adriano, that the EU is taking such a hard stance on Greece right now?
Well, there are several things at play here. countries such as Germany are dealing with domestic resistance to giving additional money to Greece. We've seen conservative members of the German parliament saying that Berlin should not give taxpayers money to the government in Athens. But at the same time, we see the European Union trying to make an example out of Greece. The European Union does not want debt relief for Greece to create a precedent that other countries could follow. What if Greece is given debt relief? What prevents countries like Italy or Ireland from asking something similar? What if the agreement that is reached is seen as a victory for the Syriza ruling party in Greece, and what prevents nationalist parties from the National Front in France or Eurosceptic parties such as Podemos in Spain from asking something similar? So the European Union wants to make an example out of Greece, while at the same time we see that Germany is deeply interested in preserving the unity of the Eurozone. Germany is an export-driven economy that needs to protect the currency union and free trade in the European Union to be able to function as an economy. So these are the conflicting issues that we are seeing these days.
Definitely, that's a good point, and we certainly haven't seen the end of the crisis. It's likely to go on, certainly for the rest of the year. Adriano, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
For more regular updates and full analysis on Greece, please continue to read Stratfor.com.